Wewe bwana, unataka kuachilia watu watoke Kamiti bwana. Unataka tuende wapi? What's wrong with you?
Amerix.
Yes.
Unanisikia?
Nakusikia.
Na shukrani kwa hii nafasi bro.
Wewe ni askari sio?
Yes.
Nini inaendelea bwana? Mnataka kustrike kwa nini bwana? Chorenyo.
Bwana, Amerix, the ground iko hostile mbaya sana. The ground iko hostile mbaya sana Amerix.
What's the problem?
The problem ni historia hiyo pesa yenye preso alisemanga ile siku akiapisha wa commissioner.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, endelea.
So in fact hiyo pesa hatukuwekewa. Hiyo 4K.
Wewe bwana uko wapi? Uko kwa Watchtower. Uko kwa Watchtower ya Kamiti ama wapi bwana? Sikupati.
Hapana. Haulipati?
Uko sawa sasa. Hiyo network yako is going on and off.
Siko kwa tower za America.
Yes. So what is the issue? Why do you people want?
The issue is the issue is hao wakubwa wetu wametusoea sana. So our officers walikuwa wanasema the prison headquarters under the Commissioner General of Prisons has always delayed increment of our salaries whenever the office of the president declare an increment of salary to all discipline services to a duration of a month, 2 months, 3 months with the excuse of system failure. It is well known that the CGP and the HR salaries directors have fixed accounts that they keep our money and reap from it. The CGP
We've lost you. Edgar, unamsikia tena?
Officers who seem unhappy with their actions. The increment order from the president is given to the treasury and towards all discipline services, and our question is, why is it at all times whenever there is money supposed to be paid to the prison officers, the office with the mandate Amerix, sanipata?
Wewe endelea. Tuambie.
Amerix. Hello.
Go on.
Unanipata?
Can you hear him?
Hello,
Cyprian. Can you hear him?
Amerix, sanipata?
Go on, tunakusikia.
Yeah, like unapatikana. Uko sawa. Unanipata? So madam anasema ati kila time ama jamaa kituongezea pesa lazima wanatusema for mungoje 1 month, 2 months ama 3 months ndio tuweke hiyo pesa. Alafu hawekangi do yote, wanaekanga kidogo kama 1k. Kama last time hiyo mwezi wa 8 ilifaa tupewe 1200. Alafu mimi kama mimi nilipata 186 bob. So majamaa wanauliza kama hiyo pesa ya mashujaa, hiyo siku ya parade ya mashujaa yenye ilikuwa Bungoma, maafisa wengi walilia juu hiyo pesa walikata. Sijui nasikia watu walikuwa wanapata 15k, 20k, unlike majamaa wengine wa KDF walikuwa wanalipwa pesa mingi. Issue nyingine ya pili ni issue ya uniform, yani like maafisa wanashangaa mbona wakubwa wa prison wanafaa compact, alafu sisi wadogo tunaambiwa tusifanye hiyo compact. Sasa majamaa wanauliza like kwani uniform sinafaa kuwa same, alafu ukifanya hiyo compact wanakushtaki. Hiyo ni issue nyingine ni story na housing. Like maafisa wengi hapa kwa kambi wanaishi manyumba zingine sinakaa bana, inakaa refugee camp bana. Inakaa like sijui nyumba ni ya bricks, mabati nyingine mbofu, nyumba zingine hata zinanyesha. Alafu wakubwa wanapatanga house allowance mingi, unapata hizo manyumba za korofa wao ndo wanaishi. Story nyingine ni story na hizi working conditions. Like matao mingi hapa ndani, matao mingi hata ukienda Kamiti, tawa ni mbaya, unapata sijui matawa ziko na kunguni. Yaani zingine zinanyesha. Alafu ofisa akiingia huko hakuna kutoka. Baridi ndio hiyo, ukishuka wanakushtaki. Sasa majamaa wameboeka, ground ni mbaya, ground ni hostile. Alafu story nyingine ni story na about hizi mabunduki. Like mabunduki mingi watu wanasema ati hizi vitu zimekuwa ovyo. zimekuwa fake, yani like zimekuwa ni vitu za kitambo. So majamaa maskari wanasema tunataka weapons zingine mpya, hatutaki hizi vitu ya kitambo ati sijui nini, tunataka vitu zingine mpya. Alafu kitu kingine pia majamaa wanasema most inmates in most prisons are either in civilian dresses and those in uniforms are yote imeraruka. Sasa majamaa wanasema na kuna pesa, nasikia kuna pesa imetengwa ya uniform ya wafungwa. Alafu huko ndani pia ati kuna kunguni na kuna pesa imetengwa hizo madawa za kunguni. Sasa majamaa nauliza hii pesa zimeingia wapi? Next story nyingine ni story na about alafu majamaa pia wanauliza kama wetu mbona kama hiyo pesa 4K ya juzi mbona wakubwa
Polo Kimani, ni kama tumepoteza huyu jamaa. These guys must be living in very 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 bad condition. Polo well, yes. America, malizia tunakupata vizuri, tunaelewa.
Sasa majamaa wanauliza mbona wakubwa wetu waliwekewa hiyo 4K alafu sisi hatukuwekewa, alafu wanasema hakuna cycle. Sasa wanauliza
kitu bwana.
Wapi? Sikupata
mzee. How are you surviving?
Tunasurvive tu bro, tunasurvive tu. Unaenda mtaani kidogo unakaa na mahindi. Unasukuma maisha kidogo hivyo. Wengine majamaa wakifunga kazi wanaingia kwa ndudhi. Lazima tu yani yani live imekuwa ngumu man, live imekuwa ngumu mbaya sana. Alafu wakubwa wengi kama ni chakula wao wanajipea. Nyumba mzuri wao ndio wanaishi nyumba mzuri. Sasa unashangaa bana, hawa watu wanataka tuishi yani.
And you are the one who was supposed to take care of the prisoners.
Sisi ma constable ndo tunachunga ama jamaa mkubwa, hakuna hawa wanakaanga tu kwa ofisi bro.
Na ile story wanasemanga ati nyinyi ungana na au kamiti sugu muibie watu M-Pesa na nini, ni ukweli? Hello. Yes, I was asking you.
Hello.
Can you hear us?
Hello.
Can you hear us?
Hello.
Polo Kimani, unaweza endelea.
Hello.
Polo Kimani, unaweza endelea.
Mr. Grandma boy, unasikika, I can hear you.
Nakundi unanipata?
Go on. Endelea bro. Go on.
Yes. You can proceed bro.
I think network yake ni mbovu, maybe huko kwa kibasement. Unajua jela maisha huko.
Hello, Amerix.
Malizia bro.
Nasema sasa ama jamaa anauliza hii cycle ilitoka wapi ndo wakubwa wakaongezewa pesa.
We can have someone else proceed.
No,
you have something to say?
I understand his cries. Because actually what happens, what usually happens, si ati do ijafikia wakubwa. Pesa ishafikia wakubwa, but inaingianga the same thing governors do. Pesa inaingia kwa personal accounts. So what they do is they hold this money for 2-3-4 months. Ile interest ina grow kwa ile do before they can now dispatch it to the necessary places. Ile interest ndo wanategea. That's why you find these rayas are always complaining nini mazi pesa imepeana imeenda wapi. It's your bosses who are fucking you. And now that we are talking about bosses, I've seen this fella called Mr. Jimmy Wanjigi. Maybe Jimmy can tell us about the whole mineral thing, because I know he has been aware. I mean, he has been dining with these guys, kina Hunye, kina Jacob Juma, kina Ruto. Maybe he can tell us why they have been fucking the lower middle class for such a long time. Now that we have decided to kuungana, now he just floats up and acts like he hakuwa anajua nini ina happen. Now another thing, we have been doing research, at least tumefanya, it was actually insane to find out that what we actually have in Kenya, even the Adani deal I'm 99% sure it has something, a portion of it, to do with the minerals we have in Kenya. When you see them saying they want 30% of the JKIA, they want their own runway, they want to have, they want their own stuff. This means they want to have an unmanaged, unscrutinized, and unmonitored movement of goods in and out of the country. One of the goods being exported is our minerals. Because hata ukiangalia tu ile website ya wale wasi Adani Enterprises, what they usually do, their biggest business is mining. They mine coal in India. I've seen all those photos in all the minerals they've been mining. So these guys ni bad news. Nikiwaambia sahi hata mimi naweza vaa tu nguo ni chomoke niende JKIA juu ile hasira niko nayo, msione ni mchezo. I know what is coming. The plague has just started. Now that place called Taita Taveta, that is the hot cake of all the minerals we have right now, because from my calculations, we have about 260 billion US dollars lying there in form of titanium, in form of uranium, in form of niobium, in form of tantalum, in form of manganese and other minerals that maybe they haven't been they haven't been mapped out yet. But what I've seen today is the government, which is by the way illegal, has unajua ile ni land ya community. The government under abnormal circumstances has just decided to give 500 acres to this guy called Devki. The one saying that Ruto should be given 25 more years.
I've seen hata nimeona amepewa hata title deed. This is very bad.
When you kasia
amepewa title deed, unapeaje a foreigner a title deed? How? It happen wapi? Ni Kenya tu hapa ndio unaona vitu kama hizi.
Maze ndio nakwambia, sasa ni kama watu feel. And now I've been trying to, hata nimeambia ndugu yangu pale Webuye nataka hii nyingine aniletee. Kuna hiki tulikuwa natumia tukiwa vijana inaitwa fair, I feel like nimefika my what do you call it? My climax of hasira. Being peaceful isn't working anymore. And I'm not going to sit down and watch you fuckers over and over and over and over again. Wacha tutoke maandamano na fair. I'm not saying mtoke maandamano na fair, but this is just a thought I've been thinking about. We are so much in deep shit and these politicians don't seem to be giving a single shit what we think. Mgome msigome, we are still going to do what we want. Given the Adani deal, they want, we might be just here ranting and they'll just go ahead and do it.
Kimani, just hold on. Shikilia tu hapo. Kasmuel, I see you here. What do you want to say?
Yes, brother.
Have you told this fellow my mentee?
Yes, yes.
Wonderful.
Those people who do not know, Amerix is one of the people who really helped me out with drama and music when I was in high school. No, I'm not bragging. However, mi nataka tu hasira ibaki juu. Leo sina, I don't have sijui facts to give you. I just need to bring a few things to our notice. This past 2 or so days, you've seen the vetting of the CSs happen. You've seen that people have claimed that they've worked for 30 years and they accumulated, for example, 400 million. But in the past less than 2 years, somebody's net worth has increased by over 200 million. I don't know which business that is because remember the shilling was not doing too well. Tax has gone up, cost of living has gone up, but kuna wase bado wamemake na sijaona hiyo business because politicians don't produce anything. All politicians produce is violence and chaos. They don't have industry. Unasikia mtu anakuwa vetted. The question wanaulizwa, where have you said? Mtu kama Dwala anasema from selling his biography. Najua watu wenye wako hapa, very few people have read it. And yes, because it's the biggest selling book in Nuria does not make it seem as though he's selling 1 million copies a week. Again, uliona nani akikuwa interviewed Oparanya. Nani Juliet alikuwa ana nod as though to guide the person to answer no to the question. I'm hearing people declare their wealth. Nobody's even asking for tax returns. These questions are being asked as though it's just a formality. In a meeting ya watu wa form 4 wanajaribu kusema nani atakuwa CU chairman. And ilikuwa isha determiniwa first term. These people are just hanging out as a boys club. I need to remind you, undiweke hasira juu. Sina sijui nini. Polisi umesikia comrade the cop saying waliongezewa 4,000. Have you seen the amount of force these people use to us on the streets? Is it worth 4,000 shillings? If you're a cop and you're listening to this, I need you to ask yourself, is 4,000 shillings worth brutalizing your brothers and sisters for on the streets? Remember, again, there's this propaganda of this silly disease that's being touted called mpox. If by my analysis, it just feels as though they want to make it look like COVID. You've seen the photos of the boil looking all ugly, but it feels as though they want to impose a lockdown so that what was andamane, so that there's no public gatherings, because they've just dissipated it as propaganda. And this is what we said: this aura for aura business should not cease, because the government needs to be reminded that they do not own monopoly of propaganda. They might have monopoly of violence, but they do not have monopoly of propaganda. Remember, hii kitu ya mpox to me doesn't even sound like a real disease. Ina sound kama kitu imekuwa fabricated. It sounds like a sponsored ad, because at your patient 0 got it while traveling from Uganda to Rwanda through Kenya. It does not make any sense. For me, it just seems like it's a lockdown thing. Kumbuka, weka hasira yako juu. How many bodies have shown up at city so far? The last time I saw the report, it was 240 something. So it means one body for every constituency. Uko hapa, you've sat down as a Kenyan, bado unajiuliza why should I go for maandamano? It is for these people who are dying like dogs. Those people, I attended this Tom Boyer show and they mentioned the names, and I remember being so moved and standing, because there are people who laid their lives so that we can get this far. Remember, your local politician produces nothing, but sisi tuko hapa Twitter tunatukanana, tunasema sijui nani has done this. While the revolution is going on, we need to have one common enemy. Our common enemy is a conman, he's a looter, he's a killer and a murderer, and hires on corruption and cronyism. It is very true, and I'm very sad to admit that there are people who have made money off of the revolution. There are people who've received funding from organizations in the name of mobilizing people, and they have not used that money for the collective. These people, we will not let them lose. That's one thing I need to assure them. And ever since I knew, nilikuwa nafikiria kila mtu anakuja hiki tu kwa na roho safi, but watu tu wako mchezo wa town. Ever since I knew, we said these people will have to be brought to the book. However, as long as they are still furthering this agenda, we have to figure that Nane thing, because I'm not hearing enough of us talking about this Nane thing. Remember, when this embittered currently Nairobi-based outgoing president is touring around, these trips still cost millions. It's just that we're not seeing the books. Nobody's auditing it. I think, and I would wager, they cost just as much as his international trips would cost. He's now gone on a very, very rampant campaign trail, and we are letting this thing slide while having this infighting. Nane is coming up. You've seen the way people wanateseka. Umesikia vile artists wanadharauliwa huku nje. Umesikia vile watu wanadhulumiwa huku nje. Women are still getting raped in those informal settlements or slums. Men are still being shot like dogs. People in the slums are still going hungry. But watu wamekaa hapa chini in a chamber, in a parliament of baboons, where people sit down, interview each other as a round table chama. It's capture harvest. They go and just pick from public coffers as though they are taking an unsecured loan from a sacco. Na wewe umekaa hapo, hasira yako inapungua. Unakaa chini, you have the guts to think you can question the movement. You think that we will get another moment where we will give this system shock therapy like this. It's never going to happen if we don't follow through with it. It's never. You've seen the effects it has all across Africa. So ukijaribu kuacha hiyo hasira yako ishuke, nitakukumbusha net worth ya our CSs. Unakaa hivi chini, ukumbuke you are a peasant. You're a pauper. That's why you're in this space. If you had anything, you would not be in this space. Even the people who we think have money who are in this space, they have nothing. They're trying to gather more information on how best they can screw you. Now, where bado unakaa chini, you think you have moral high ground to call out what this movement is. Let's not accept to be sucked into the useless, these baseless infightings. Because as Ayn Rand said in 1957, when you see that in order to produce, you need to obtain permission from men who produce nothing. When you see that money is flowing to those who deal, not in goods but in favors. When you see that men get richer by graft and by pull than by work, and your laws don't protect you against them, but protect them against you. When you see corruption being rewarded and honesty becoming a self-sacrifice, you may know that your society is doomed. Alafu bado kuna watu wanakuuliza after Ruto, what next? We have figured out that society is doomed and we're trying to reclaim it. And if you think about whatever even this CS vetting process is like someone who's doing a colonoscopy where they're supposed to be examining your internal organs, but they're doing it with a telescope. Nobody is up for accountability anymore. And the more we let these people slide, the more we let them deal and whore our future around, we will not have a country. This thing which people are lying and deceiving you that we don't have a country, that people are trying to let the country descend into chaos is nothing. Because when you say Ruto must go, and I want to explain this to you very clearly if you're listening to the sound of my voice. When you say Ruto must go, you are affirming the position of the Constitution. Because on September 21st, 2020, CJ Emeritus David Maraga advised the then President Uhuru to dissolve Parliament because it was not in good standing. Years later, this Parliament as it sits is unconstitutional. So all this rigmarole of what comes next, there will be no power vacuum. Let nobody lie to you that the country will descend into chaos. Because we are peaceful, beyond being tribeless, leaderless, and fearless. We are also not, as I keep on saying, we're protesters, not rioters and looters. Nobody should lie to you that the country will descend into chaos, because what the president knows very well, if you read the Constitution, you cannot also litigate that matter of now Supreme Court, the president of the judiciary has said something. Now you want to litigate it in High Court. It is not a matter of litigation. You just follow the Constitution. The president knows once he dissolves Bunge, we have to go into a general election, and by effect that means that he has resigned. So when you say don't be afraid,
Hello?
Nobody lied to you. Can you hear me? Let
yes.
nobody
Can you
lie
hear me?
to you. Yes, I can. Let me just wrap it up. Let nobody lie to you that the people are not for you. God is for us, the people are for us. And I talk as a person, nimeingia ground. Nimefanya kitu online, nimeingia ground, and everybody is ripe for these things. Toka hapo nje asira ikiwa juu, ongea na mama mboga wako. And don't talk down on these people. These people are equally as wise. They're equally as wise as we are. So in all our contributions in everything that you're doing, as we soldier up to Nane, ask yourself, is this country currently working for you? And is this the kind of country you want to live in? Thanks, Amerix.
Thank you very much, Kasmueli. Yes, push it beyond online into offline. Okayo. I just want to inform you that this space has been reported several times. So when you try to fetch it, you may not see it. Jamaa wanajaribu report left, right, and center. I don't know what you have done. We are citizens. We have a right to assemble and talk. That is our constitutional mandate to do that. So Okayo, where are you? There was a young man Okayo who is pushing civic education. Sisi kama bado tuko hapa X tunagombana. Huko nje there are people doing something. They are talking to mama mboga, to whatever, boda, kwa matatu, everywhere. They are talking. They are telling them, look, this is why we are agitated. This is why we are not happy. This is why things are not going the way they are supposed to go. People need to be empowered with information. And that's what they are doing out there. But sisi hapa X, what are we doing? Insulting each other, demeaning each other, belittling each other, abusing each other. Something that we need to stop. We need to hold each other accountable, yes, but let us be in unity. Follow.
Yes, sir.
Endelea.
hata nimepoteza nini. Where was I? What was I saying? I was talking. I think I was talking about. I mean, my main my core reason why I'm here is to talk about minerals and also, you know, the impunity. But my business right now is about minerals. I was saying Jimmy Wanjigi should be here, and also I saw Steve Mbogo speaking about the same issue. I think it was on Spice FM. Maybe he should also tells us. Maybe he forgot to mention. Is it true that you have a mining, you know, a mining site in Kenya and another one in Tanzania? Is that true, Steve Mbogo?
I saw Steve Bogo here. The space has been having issues.
I think I can also see.
Steve Bogo, are you here? I saw you. He was in the speakers panel.
Yeah, he's a speaker.
Maybe as we wait for Steve Bogo, we have Ruben, Papa Ruben. I started listening to Papa Ruben back in when I was still a small fellow. Joy Bringers on VOK. Papa Ruben.
Thank you very much, Amerix. I was getting worried because I have another meeting lined up, but thank you for, let me just use a few minutes. First of all, I wish we had time to talk about what MC Njagi is going through, because that's a whole issue that I have so much data on. But that's for another day. I would like to highlight four things. First of all, I would like us to understand that what we are dealing with is an enemy that has not been understood by Kenyans. And we need to break it down so that the amount of anger we put in this thing is maximized. Now, if we want integrity and somebody does not work on it, if we want accountability and somebody doesn't like it, if we want a lean government and somebody wants an expanded one, if we want to live within our means and someone is teaching his people and living extravagant, then we have a real enemy of our country. If we want the sacking of the entire cabinet, as in let them go so we can have a national representation on meritocracy, then we have a reshuffle of cronies. And worse still, you have the so-called opposition brought into government as if to mock citizens. It's like mtadu tunaenda kufanya hivi, and that's what we want to do. You can do nothing about it. We know that parliament is an appendage of the executive. That we know. We know what they have done to us in this country. I mean, the fertilizer scandal notwithstanding, they can mock us that way. And money will change hands, and one way or the other, parliament will remain what it is. So when we see the so-called vetting, and we actually take time to listen and even comment, I'm wondering, honestly speaking, what are we even commenting on? We already know this is a rogue system. We know it's a rogue process. So we need to come to a place of reality where we really understand our enemy. And we must come together and go to the root of the problem. You know, I want to say this. Many of you view me as a musician, and so you read me in the light of a song. And you view, you know, some in fact view me on the basis of disability, all of that. But I need you to know that I graduated from university at the same time as Ruto. He was at the University of Nairobi, I was at Kenyatta University. We are 9 months apart in birth. And so I have been around and I've been looking at how this country goes. He goes into business, I go the other direction into my professions and other things. And we come to a point where even with systems of education, we all know what worked and did not work. We know what this country needs to be. And so when you see me angry, I'm not angry because the Gen Zs provoked us to look at these issues. I've been angry for a long time. If you go to my videos, I've been speaking against Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila, especially from 2018, the BBI stuff. So I don't come into this the way you view me as a singer. I come as a bona fide citizen. And for those of you that think I'm from Rwanda, I'm from Bunyore. Kigame is from Bunyore in Vihiga. So I'm a citizen of this country. And I may be a singer, but I'm a PhD student right now. So it's not lack of education. It's not a pity party thing. I'm in this because I'm genuinely angry and I want Ruto to go with his entire system. For heaven's sake, I'm a philosophy, I teach philosophy. I teach history. And I'm so angry that a few people can take a whole country captive and, lead them like they own them. This cannot be allowed to go on. No, we will not let it happen. This country is full of blood. We've shed too much blood from independence. But Ruto and his system, in 1 year, we only know 247 at the city morgue. I've been to the Yala River. I've been to that hospital and talked to those guys, some families, some doctors there. When Giggs Tata was shot, I went to Mombasa. I was with the family. I was at Kenyatta Hospital visiting with those who were shot, who were injured. We are not dealing with a joke. Citizens have been murdered by this country, by this government. In my private time, I talk a lot to people in the security docket. I have policemen who are my friends. When somebody tells you they have, they are given like 17 to 18,000 a month, of course it sounds like a lot, but that is what they have for rent. That is what they have for food. That is what they have for the school fees of their children. That is what they have for transport. That is what they have for everything. And they're living in squalid conditions, Mabati structures, like the officer said, some of them leaking. I have friends in that state. When we talk about a few people living like they don't belong here, friends, I don't think we are angry enough. I don't think we are angry enough. Don't waste your time looking at what businesses they're doing. Those children have money that can last them like 17 lifetimes. As people go hand to mouth and sometimes without anything in the hand to take to the mouth. I have people who inbox me not having eaten for 3 or 4 days. And I'm not paid enough to be able to have something go around for them. I'm talking to Uber drivers that are being harassed like crazy. Kenyans, if we allow these guys to, consolidate and kill the spirit of the struggle, we will be very bad losers. So let me just give a few suggestions. First of all, I really think that union leaders, those that are organized enough in groups that are suffering, need to come together and re-strategize a non-violent approach that succeeds our demos. We need to find a way of bringing this government to their knees because they are using our resources, our taxes, to stay in power and harass us. So maybe if we identified certain businesses, certain services that run because of us, and we withdraw for a day or two or more our monies that go into that, whether it's just keeping our cars at home or our border borders, so that we don't fund their petrol stations. We need to come to a point where we do more than go on the streets. And I'm not saying this because I'm not going. I'm blind, but on Thursday, I will be on the streets. And like one colleague said earlier, if we perish, we perish. I've been on the streets in Eldoret. I've been on the streets with the doctors in Nairobi. I've been on the streets in Mombasa. So if for me as a blind person, I can go on the streets, kwanza tokezeni twende. I need some of you, in fact, to show me which roads we're using. But we must come out. We really must. To say no to being treated like animals with a don't care, detachment, don't care attitude. I will not take it. I will not take it. Wanajua mali mnaishi wanikujie. And for most of you, you might know it. I'm a very easy target. Wakuje. But we must really stop this nonsense of a few people making us slaves in our own country. So we must come out and do better than demonstrations. Bring these guys to their knees, to the point where one time we should say we're not going to pay any taxes. Watafanya nini? What will they do? One time, let's all decide they benefit from our data and airtime and all of that. One day, kila mtu akatae kutumia kitu, so that we come to a point where they understand something. I can't take it. Secondly, as people in the struggle, we need to do more civic and political education for our fellows that are being bought to attend those rallies. Wanalipo 500, 1000, 2000 to attend so that it looks like they have audience. They don't have audience. So we need to do more civic education. Hao watu wanakuja na maboda na kusema we support the government. They don't support the government. They are suffering. But for some of them, they're too hungry to resist a 500 bob. So we need to come to a point where we ourselves educate each other and talk to one another beyond these spaces and show them the uselessness and the price of betrayal. I think we need to do more. But thirdly, I really think we must come to a point where the lawyers, LSK, and all legal entities, those that are on our side, we need to develop a scorecard of minimums with regard to those who can occupy office, so that we say kama hauna these 3 things or these 5 things, then usikaribie uongozi. Because we have cheapened leadership in this country, so that it's only the politicians that can exploit that go into office. That's why they can vet these guys, and they're rotten to the core. The DPP keeps doing whatever they do to excuse them, and we just go on like nothing happens. Some people should never have leadership and their name in the same sentence. So we need a scorecard that we agree on before the next election, whenever it will be called. In the 2022 election, when I ran, EACC had singled out 241 people that were not fit to hold office. Most of them made it into office. That is where we are. So mkiniona na post vitu kuhusu values, it's not because I can't share my economic policy or education policy or whatever, even though I do. It is because I think it is the answer that the character of a person matters. If their character is rotten, they should never even go through a nomination process. And this is something we can begin identifying now. Now, vijana, najua mambo ya leaderless, tribeless, and so on, imeshika sana mpaka I ask myself, so when we get these guys out of office, so who are going to be the leaders? Since the agenda is here and we understand what we want, then those of you who understand what we want should be getting ready to take over office. MCAs, MPs, we need Gen Zs that are governors, senators. If hata tukipata president ni sawa. I mean, we need to get ready, and professionals, kuna vijana that are good leaders, start grooming them, fund them, prepare them to take over leadership, so that, you know, nature abhors vacuum. So tuambiane ukweli, once Ruto goes with his system, we'll need good leaders, and some of you need to be sharpening your leadership skills, and getting ready. All these graduates with degrees in leadership, you know, administration, and all kinds of professions, we have to get ready. Lastly, ningependa kuomba hivi, if for any reason you are hearing us on this space, let us escalate beyond the X spaces. If hata kama unaelewa vernacular, call in, you know, those talk shows, and talk about Nane, talk about a better country. You know, go into your WhatsApp groups if you're on WhatsApp. Mimi nimefungiwa Facebook, so that's why I'm mostly on X. Go wherever you have a chance. Ukichukua ukiwa kwa matatu or whatever, talk about this, because the country is ready. We just need to mobilize and move. I really pray that all of us see that better country, but hii nchi ambayo iko na damu nyingi sana kwa, you know, the ground is crying out, and I can, you know, list them from independence until now. And inakuwa ni kama mambo na investigations, inakuwa a way of postponing. Ukisikia no stone will be left unturned, actually that's basically saying it's buried. So CDF wetu ndio huyo ameenda, Musando alienda hivyo, Baby Pendo ndio, yani we are so used to shedding blood mpaka Shakahola inakuwa ni kama a religious thing. It's a crime scene. You know, the Kware thing is not even about the demonstrations. It's genocide. It's genocide. All those bodies at the city mortuary, these are citizens, children of parents like me. So we need to wake up. And Kenya, we need to be a little more angry than we've been. We really, wacha hiyo anger iboil. Wacha nitusiwe, I'm immune. You know, I am immune to insults. Insult all you want. I feel nothing. But my anger shall rise until I see a new Kenya. God bless you all.